On the phone with me with my guest, Melissa Everett is the Executive Director of Sustainable Hudson Valley. Melissa, welcome to Wall Radio. Glad to have you here. You've been on with me before, right?
Oh, yeah. I tend to be on every year when we do Climate Solutions Week, and I'm hoping this is the year that we'll start doing it more often. Hi, everybody.
You are absolutely welcome to come on anytime. Anytime it occurs to you, yeah, come on the air. So, uh, especially the timing now, the Climate Solutions Week begins tomorrow. And what is that?
Depending on how you count, we declared a 9-day week, open invitation for schools, libraries, community groups, houses of worship, businesses to gather folks together and look at what can be done around the climate emergency and what is being done. And so, of course, it's just like the climate situation. Our events are messy. We had somebody, Partners for Climate Action, did a launch mixer last night right before the formal open. We have over 55 activities, and one of them is an EV ride and drive down in Bedford on the 30th. We have a bunch of repair cafes, I think, in your neighborhood.
I'm working one tomorrow. Yeah, I'm working one tomorrow in Middletown.
Uh-huh. Good. Yeah. We have so all over the region, more than the 9-day week we anticipated, and lots of opportunities for people who've been going, oh, yeah, I didn't like those wildfires. They were a little unnerving. To say, all right, what can we do that is bigger? Yes, we need to get our houses in order. We're lucky to have a state law that, although it's a big deal, it creates a mechanism and financing to help us shift over to electric power and renewable energy for our towns. It's what we can do at that level in our homes and in our businesses, and then also what we can do in our communities. And I know Orange County itself is what's called a climate smart community, which is made a declaration to make this shift to renewables and electricity and conservation and all that stuff, and has staff dedicated to doing it and political commitment. And so Orange County Planning is actually putting together several events for Climate Solutions Week, including how do you tighten up the energy use in your town, which also saves you money.
Now, a lot of people say, okay, I'm very worried about climate change. I'm very worried about the environment, but I'm just one guy. I'm just one person. What can I do that will make a difference?
We saw so much of that when we took a plunge about 5-6 years ago to open up the solar market. Back then, people were saying, I'm really all into solar panels. I hope my neighbors do it, and maybe I'll get to watch, and, maybe someday in my lifetime I'll do it. But there is kind of a formula for helping people around that, for helping each other around that. And one part is knowledge. And so, all these programs help folks understand what needs to be done and how. Mm-hmm. And then one part is social support and people coming together and helping each other out. So there's a series of events that we're doing by Zoom, super accessible, early evenings. I think it's Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of this coming week. And by the way, you can find all these on hvclimatesolutionsweek.org. But these are interactive sessions with energy coaches. And they are science teachers and investment advisors and just all kinds of nerds who have taken it upon themselves
to
learn about good nerds, insulation products and loopholes in, geothermal contracts and just all the technical stuff that can be daunting. And it's a free service. New Yorkers for Clean Power, a friendly nonprofit, has pulled together wonderful folks. Marcy Cleveland, who lives just on the edge of Orange County. Tom Conrad, Samrat Catania. Their names you might know because they're just really expert and really lovely. One of those sessions is going to be mainly on electric vehicles, and the other two mainly, for homes and small business buildings.
Yes, I saw that you
So
had
it's really,
programs
yeah,
about electric vehicles. If people have questions, they can ask other people who actually own one.
yeah,
That's the way
and
to go.
Rhinebeck may be a hike for your listeners, or Bedford, but we can bring these programs to your community if something doesn't quite click for this week.
Hmm.
But yeah, there's several opportunities for EV owners are going to come out and bring their cars and just talk about what they learned from the experience of buying them.
And running them and operating them. Now,
Mhm.
see, I have I have an observation. I have a house that we built a few years ago and it's got electric heat. So I guess everybody's saying, "Yay, good for you." Well, it was just cheaper to install. but
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah,
when I
yeah.
get my electric bill, there's a note in there saying you may not realize this, but you used X percent more electricity than other houses in your neighborhood. Well, yes, I'm
Yeah,
heating with it in the winter.
the system is not as smart as it could be.
Yeah.
You know, back when I was a kid in the 1960s and 70s, there was this dream of the all electric home, and it was like it was not well thought through, and the buildings were inefficient. So, uh, I have in my house uh, air source heat pumps, which are those little gizmos
Yes.
on the
Yes.
wall
The
that
little things you
heat,
see
cool,
outside,
and
right?
dehumidify.
Uh-huh.
And it took me 3 energy audits to get my house, my insulation in shape to make those crazy efficient. Footnote, the third energy audit with an infrared camera showed me that my north-facing wall had no insulation whatsoever.
Oh,
Um, so now my electric bill in the summer is like $10.36, and my electric bill in the winter is maybe 150, and I use part of a tank of fuel oil as a backup, and I have solar panels on my roof, and that power I buy power from Elon Musk, and that costs me another maybe $30 or $40 a month.
but
So
see, this is dollars and cents. This is why people should care about sustainability and improving ways to go because it puts money back in your pocket that otherwise would be flowing out in the form of energy.
yeah, and I will say we've got two events for business. One is Maria Genovese from this wonderful organization called Green Business Bureau. It's actually a company that has online tools and training programs for small business to do the same thing.
Hmm.
Um, and I think that this is deeper than we think about because it's about saving and it's about ultimately being in more control of your lifestyle, and knowing what's going on so that you're not just kind of sitting duck the next time there's a utility billing crisis or, energy supply interruptions from the Middle East or whatever it may be. So I think it's about being in control, but it's also looking at the larger picture of climate, being in more control in this kind of swirling crisis because I'll go back to Climate Solutions Week and what we're seeing. Government has been driving policy because some very thoughtful legislators in the state a couple of years ago, 4 years ago now, said we have to do something more comprehensive and, got a law passed with a lot of popular support. But a lot of what's going on now is business development. It's new forms of delivering electricity. There's a one called community choice aggregation, where an entire local government can buy into an electric power supply for its residents and businesses. And that's a business model. It's not a governmental juggernaut. And that's what I'm seeing that is so hopeful. The solar industry is growing. The efficiency industry is growing. Geothermal for businesses and, at meaningful size is becoming affordable, and people are figuring out how to be smart customers using it The heat pumps that I mentioned, every place I go, there seem to be heat pumps. So it's people rising up and not so much, tangling with authority, but taking responsibility.
And helping save the planet. That's pretty noble. Pretty
I mean,
noble.
I often say we're at two tipping points, and one of them is, in the global climate system, and where, a science paper came out about a few months ago saying that at the temperatures that we're having now are the same temperatures that in geologic time caused all the Greenland ice to melt. So we're at this very critical point, and it's big organized changes that will pull us back from crisis. But the other tipping point is just how many people and businesses and governments are thinking at scale about accomplishing the changes we need.
Okay, that's a good way to look at it. We want to hear more, but I need to take a quick break. We'll be right back and talk some more with Melissa Everett of Sustainable Hudson Valley. Yes, you can look up hvclimatesolutionsweek.org, or else you can go to sustainhv.org. But we'll talk more in just a moment on Wall. It's 50 degrees now, 826 at Wall Radio. With me on the phone, Melissa Everett from Sustainable Hudson Valley, because it's Hudson Valley Climate Solutions Week starting tomorrow, and this week is 9 days long. I think that's very cool.
And I'm so excited at some of the events which range, and they're all over the region, and they're very easy to participate in. We were talking about energy coach sessions. We've got a webinar on implementing federal and state policy. We've got another one on environmental justice funding for communities that have gotten left behind in the past. We've got a theater performance at Long Dock Park in Beacon, whole series of theater performances kind of arranged around the park on Saturday. And then in Orange County, the thing I'm so excited about, we are launching an ongoing program with a kind of 6-week push. It's called Planting Power Newburgh.
Planting Power Newburgh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the first training session and hands-on planting of trees and a food forest and some pollinator plantings will be happening during Climate Solutions Week. This is a project that we were actually approached by Rhinebeck Rotary, and we worked together to pull in funding from the Rotary Foundation, working with the Greater Newburgh Parks Conservancy. And we have a wonderful teacher from the Balmville Schools, Kyle Conway, who we're working with him to develop a curriculum so that people can really learn about the role of trees and plantings and local food systems and stuff, and take control in the community in that way. Newburgh is, it's lost 4,000 street trees over the last couple of decades because it's been so hard to take care of them. And so this is a really grassroots effort, and folks can come to a free series of classes really learning about how do you restore an urban environment, and then in between them, sweat opportunities to get out and plant stuff with a bunch of wonderful people.
Where do they find the information to sign up?
On sustainhv.org.
Okay.
Or if you look at gnpc.org is the Greater Newburgh Parks Conservancy.
GNPC. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. .org.
Greater Newburgh Parks Conservancy.org.
Okay.
But this is I'm so excited about this.
Yeah. Planting Power Newburgh. I like that.
Yeah,
And
you could come.
I could. When is that?
The first training session is the 23rd, and you do need to sign up in advance. So Greater Newburgh Parks Conservancy, gnpc.org.
Okay, great. Melissa, we have blown right through our time, unfortunately. You got time for a couple of parting words, though, if there's anything that we didn't get said
well,
yet.
thank you. Thanks, everybody. And I just want to say this is part of a larger effort to map out what we need to do around the climate crisis. We've created a HV Climate Roadmap. .org, and we're continuing to work with communities to, create action plans that are big enough to matter but small enough to get done. And we look forward to opportunities to chat with you again.
Anytime. Thank you. Melissa Everett, the Executive Director of Sustainable Hudson Valley. Remember those websites, sustainhv.org. And for this week, hvclimatesolutionsweek.org for those events all around the Hudson Valley. Thank you, Melissa. It's coming up on 8:31. Let's get into our news update on WAL.